Welcome to this week's Skill Sprint. My name is Brian Alexakis. I work at Embarcadero Technologies as a product marketing manager. You can also find me on Twitter at IoTBrian. Today's topic is a preview of Box2D. This skill sprint is the final in the first quarter of 2015. We are already hard at work on the next series of skill sprints and other webinars, so stay tuned. Box2D will be compatible with RAD Studio, Delphi, C++ Builder, and App Method. It will work on all major platforms of Windows, OS X, Android, and iOS. It is also supported in both Object Pascal and C++. Skill sprints are meant to be short, to the point, include lots of nice tips and tricks with useful URLs, and also feature demos. At the end, we have a nice Q&A to wrap up with any questions you might have. All of the links that are presented in today's demo can be found on the blog, which is currently live, at embt.co/preview-box2d. Since this week's skill sprint is a preview, there are no downloadable program files for you to try out today, but rest assured they will be coming out soon. So what exactly is Box2D? By definition, it is a physics engine for games. However, that doesn't mean that Box2D can only be used for games. Box2D is open source, and you can use it in any of your applications, commercial or otherwise. But simply put, Box2D is a 2D physics simulator engine. It is written in C++ by Aaron Cateau. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name too bad. The homepage for Box2D is box2d.org. Box2D will work for both C++ Builder or Delphi applications on all platforms, Windows, iOS, OS X, and Android. And Box2D will work great with either FireMonkey or VCL apps. Box2D is a physics engine. It is considered a physics engine because it calculates simulations of constrained rigid bodies. Rigid bodies are basically things that don't deform when they collide with other things. And pretty much any two-dimensional shape can be represented within Box2D by the composition of multiple convex polygons, circles, or edge shapes. Those rigid bodies can be tied together with joints to create systems of rigid bodies, and they in turn can be acted upon by gravity, friction, and restitution. Put another way, this is the application of classical Newtonian physics to systems of polygons and circles. Box2D is a tried and true physics engine. It is used by other application platforms, although they are game-focused, like Unity and Game Maker Studio. It currently is used by games like Angry Birds, Crayon Physics Deluxe, and Limbo. Box2D.org is really the first place to go to start learning about how to use the Box2D library. The manual is in PDF form at box2d.org/manual.pdf. The FAQ URL is linked on the screen there, and it does what normal FAQs do. They answer frequently asked questions. Box2d.org/downloads was just recently updated with GDC 2015 content, and for those of you who are not aware of what GDC is, that is the Game Developer Conference held in San Francisco each spring, and it just actually wrapped up. So there's a lot of PowerPoint slides and other information that was presented at GDC 2015. It really goes into some technical depth about how people are using Box2D. And then lastly, if you want to connect to the Box2D community, they have a very active forum at box2d.org/forum. Box2D is a physics engine. Put another way, it procedurally animates objects according to the laws of classical Newtonian physics. At the end of the day, Box2D is calculating positional information, including x and y coordinate and rotational values, over time. This positional information is used by the rendering engine. In our case, this means setting positional and rotational properties of VCL and FireMonkey components. There's a lot of possibility for creative applications of Box2D. For example, one can leverage the device sensor like a microphone and use sound levels as input to a physics simulation. Perhaps you can yell at the screen and cause your UI to explode in an interesting way. Or perhaps take a heart rate gadget from the Internet of Things. Maybe your heart rate can be used as an input to a different physics simulation to create some kind of interesting visual representation. The main point to take away here is that Box2D is simply applying change over time to abstracted systems of polygons and circles. It has nothing to do, or rather, it has nothing to say about how that information is rendered. So it is up to the rendering engine to determine what to do with the information Box2D calculates. Later in this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate how to get a very basic Hello World Box2D application running in C++. It's really quite simple. You just programmatically link the Box2D library via a pragma and an include. And if you want to target a mobile project, then you have to just add Flatbox2D to the additionally linked property of the project options C++ linker. And for Delphi, you just simply need to include the Flatbox2D project files into your project so that you can then turn around and use them in your use clauses. In this screenshot here, you can see that I'm using an absolute path to the Object Pascal Box2D files. Now, since Box2D was originally written in C++, there are some caveats and things to keep in mind when building a Delphi implementation that uses the Box2D library. But as this skill sprint is simply a just quick preview, we are not going to get into those details, but rest assured, when Box2D is released, that all of the Delphi-isms for the Box2D implementation will be made available. Alright, it's time for some demos. Box2D has some examples that it ships with, including a console-based Hello World and a testbed application. So we're going to first demonstrate how to build a Hello World in both Delphi and C++. Then I'm going to show that testbed working in Windows and on Android. And lastly, we'll show you a Delphi implementation of Box2D that will affect a bunch of FireMonkey components. Okay, let's begin by creating a console application for C++. So I'm going to select New Other. And then in the window here, I'll select C++ console application. And we'll go ahead and give this a save. I've created a folder here for it already. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is include Box2D through the pragma command, which I will just go ahead and paste in there. Next, we need to include the actual header files. Oops. So I will come under here and drop those in. Now this demo uses IO stream, so I'll include that as well. Now this code that I'm going to paste in here is actually a console application that is from Box2D, and essentially it's a simple game loop that just outputs some text that simulates positions of a couple of basic objects. We're not going to go into any of the code. I just want to actually just simply demonstrate that this will compile and run just fine. If I go ahead and compile the application here, here is the calculated result from the simple Box2D simulation. Alright, that was C++. Let's go ahead and take a look at what a Delphi application looks like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open a new other, and again, I'm going to select a console application, but this time under Delphi. First thing I'm going to do is add the Box2D into the uses clause, and as I showed earlier on my slide, I am going to just simply call that with a absolute URL to the PAS files. Actually, if I grab this directory, you can see here, this is the directory, and it has all of the PAS files for Box2D. Next thing I will do is just go ahead and copy in the code body, which is equivalent to the C++ demo in its functionality. And we go ahead and give this a save. Delphi. Give it a run. And lo and behold, here we have the Delphi equivalent, the same simulation, running as a console application. Let's take a look at something a little bit more interesting. I'm going to close these out. And let's go ahead and take a look at the test bed. The test bed is a application for Box2D that demonstrates all the different kinds of simulations via a prearranged scene, if you will. Each one of these boxes you can kind of grab onto, and as you can see, my computer lags a little bit as I do a screen recording and physics simulation at the same time. But I'm going to show this demo on the Android platform in a second, but you must excuse me while I play around here. This is kind of the fun side of Box2D, is that you get to see the kind of chaos that ensues when you grab something and just kind of randomly drag it around. If you click on the drop-down menu, you can see all these different sort of physics simulations that are set up in pre-configurations. So I'm just going to grab one at random called bullet test. And as you can see, this is something of a small object with high velocity piercing through a relatively low object with what would sort of appear to be like a low mass, right? And you can kind of toggle on the different overlays to get more information about what kinds of calculations are occurring as the simulation progresses. Let's go ahead and choose just one more. We'll just pick a random one, maybe let's say car. Let's see what this will look like. Maybe I have to grab it here. Oh, there we go. All right. So let me show you this running on Android. And here you can see the testbed running on my Google Nexus 5 phone. It's quite responsive, and you can see me dragging around the box there. And those physics simulation is going on. All right. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's see how Box2D can be used with a FireMonkey application. So I've already got that here. Now, this is written in Object Pascal as a Delphi application. And when I run this as a Windows application here. Alright, so you can see here that we've got all the typical components, scroll bar, some kind of input here, got some buttons and a panel, slider. If I go ahead and hit drop, the physics simulation begins. And you can see that while this is going on, all these are still active. I can click on stuff, even the drop-down list will work. And I can, yeah, everything remains responsive. Let's see that one more time. Beautiful. So there you have it. Box2D is animating some FireMonkey components. Pretty cool stuff. Let's talk about some offers we have going here at Embarcadero Technologies. These offers expire March 31st, so don't wait. First up is BOGO, buy one get one. If you buy RAD Studio, Delphi, or C++ Builder, get another tool of equal or less value for free. Upgrading from Pro to Enterprise will get you a 10-user license for EMS, turnkey, REST-powered middleware solution. Purchase XE7 and get a $700 bonus pack with so much great stuff I don't even have time to mention it all. With the purchase of XE7, you will get the next major release for free. And on top of all of that, if you upgrade to XE7 from any previous version, you will save up to 45%. But if you wait too long, and March 31st comes and goes, it will be too late and you will not get any of these offers. So act now and visit embarcadero.com/rad offer for more details. Well, that about does it for today's presentation. I hope you are excited as I am about the different things you might want to do with Box2D, including making games, but hey, much more than just that. There's really a lot of potential with Box2D. Your imagination is really the limiting factor here. Okay, well, if you guys have any questions, I would love to hear them. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the forthcoming skill sprints and other webinars.
With 2D, as you could not just for games and simulations, but you might think about user interface ideas that would have, user interface on forms having a 2D kind of world to live in with the XY coordinates of the controls. Now with FireMonkey we have animations where you can animate different properties, but there's a very limited set of animations that you can do when you're animating properties, whether that's position, size, rotation. Brian, you did that with your awesome fonts blog where you did and Skill Sprint you did rotation of these fonts. So FireMonkey has simple types of operations. VCL doesn't have anything, but with Box2D you could think about user interfaces that are more active for the users, and using the physics engine to have buttons appear, forms fly off the screen as they're dismissed or closed, and so on. So you can start thinking about a richer user interface experience in a two-dimensional screen world versus 3D. And there are 3D physics engines out there. Newton Dynamics is one that comes to mind, where I know there's a Delphi binding. And so, I mean, there's other things to explore as well. Let's see. Yeah, and Pat is picking up on that exactly, Brian, if you see his comment at 6:21 a.m. Interesting tool for interactive interface design to add inertia. Absolutely. Those are ideas of, more rich, immersive user interfaces that people could explore. So
the other thing that Box2D adds, which is nice, is of course collision detection. That's something that otherwise would be, the animating properties that come with the framework just, they don't have collision detection. So that's really quite fun. It can create a lot of fun stuff. Let's see here. Is it going to be included in the next release of Delphi XE8 yet? Will there be an add-on for XE7?
No plans for that. And I think Keith was saying, well, he could just download it There are many libraries you could download. The question is, what we've done is we've done the C++ builder and Delphi specific bindings to save you the work, and as well as giving you examples so that you have it already built for you and can be linked in, and it can be used across, as Brian showed, it can be used with the same code of using FireMonkey, for example, across all the platforms that we support, in addition to just using it on Windows.
So Enrico tried to go to the blog, and I apologize for it not being live, but I had some technical difficulties getting that blog posted. We're working on it. The only thing that I was going to put on the blog was, at this time, links to Box2D and some of those learning resources. If you just go to box2d.org, you can find those links at the top in the main menu.
Or copy or save the chat log. I've put several of the links, including probably the ones that Brian currently has. I've put those in the chat window, so you can just do Files, Save Chat Log, and get those links saved, and while we figure out what's going on with the blog post. Okay. Well, that looks like it for this time, Brian.
Great. Well, I appreciate everybody coming out today. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. And with that, I think we will see you all next time.
Yeah, I think this is the end of this series now.
It is indeed.
We'll be putting together a Q2 series of skill sprints, so we'll let everybody know when all of that takes place. There's still a FireDAC skill sprint on Thursday with myself talking about using FireDAC with Paradox DBase files through ODBC Bridge, and then also if you have any old Borland database engine type applications, how to migrate those applications to use FireDAC instead of the old T-database, T-table, T-query components. So that's on Thursday, and then we'll take a short break in the first part of April, and then stay tuned. We'll let everybody know about the next round of developer skill sprints. If you have ideas for topics that you'd like to have us cover in the future, as always, you can send us emails. You can post comments on Brian's blog posts. You can send me an email, david.i@embarcadero.com. You know how to get a hold of most of us. So we're looking forward to continuing these throughout the year, maybe with a little bit different frequency, but it's all good and all fun. And this last four things that you saw, including this one, the first three previews are up on the landing page for skill sprints. First one was change views with Interbase 7. There was a preview there. Then the preview of push notifications for EMS server. Let's see, what else did we cover, Brian? Preview. Oh, well, this one, Box2D, and I'm missing.
EMS push notifications with Marco was last week.
Yeah, we did that. That's what I get for
the week before that, actually, I think.
Yeah, and then.
Well, of course, we have got the. Didn't we do an IO? No, I guess we didn't do that one.
Oh, beacons. We did the beacons.
Oh, yes, of course, beacons.
Proximity using
JT, yeah. Mm-hmm.
JT, so how could I forget beacons?
Of course.
Anyway, everybody, those, and we'll get the Box2D preview up. Serena also did a blog about the multi-device preview window that's going to be added in the next release. And again, the special offer, as Brian mentioned, it ends on March 31st. You can upgrade to XE7 right now, and you'll get the next release. So it's the best deal we've ever offered. Plus, you get all the other bonuses and the buy one get one free. You get all of that. So you've got, if you're not on XE7, you've got 7 more days to get to XE7 and then move forward. Okay, I'll stop now. That's it.
Thank you, David. All right, have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Hello, everybody. I'm joined in the studio today by David I.
I am here.
All right, so I will love to take your questions if there are any. Now is the time to submit them.
We were having a conversation earlier about Box2D, not just for games, is using the notion of a 2D physics engine in your forms, for example, to call attention to a user interface element.
Yeah, one idea that I had that was kind of floating around was if you have a particularly long load state, you can give your user a sort of sandbox environment where they can just kind of flick things around with their finger and kind of give them a little bit of entertainment while they wait. That's kind of an edge case, but it could be good. It could be
or a different look for a progress bar that's not just some kind of animation indication, that you could use some physics to sort of have things speed up as they get closer to completion, for example. You might have error messages that have some physics to appear and get your attention when there's some kind of error or prompt response needed.
Yeah, I also really am intrigued by the idea of using the device sensors to drive a physics simulation, perhaps something with an accelerometer or holding the phone in your hand and tilting it one way or another and doing a kind of like a maze ball game, where you can kind of add acceleration and collision detection with a ball in a maze or something.
We're looking at forms at different angles.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ideas there, but again, ultimately this thing was built as a physics engine for games.
Right.
But there's no reason why a physical simulation or instrumentation you're getting from industrial process or manufacturing could have a visualization on your user interface as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have any comments at the moment. I'll leave them open for a little while here. This is the end of our first quarter skill sprint series. We are currently working on the next round of skill sprints and other kinds of webinars that will be coming out in the near future.
In Q2, yeah, April to June. We'll let you know. You'll get an email from us, or you can look at blog posts and other things announcing the next round of sprints. If you have ideas for topics you want us to cover, just post a message, post a comment on Brian's blog, send me an email, david@embarcadero.com. The Twitter, you can post comments. What is it, Brian?
It's IoT
Brian.
Yeah.
You can post comments there. Brian's going to collect up, and we've had other people give us suggestions along the way in this quarter, which some of these topics came from suggestions from the previous 8 months worth of skill sprints. So
yeah, these last few skill sprints were preview skill sprints on upcoming features, and regarding upcoming features, the offers are expiring on March 31st, as we presented in the skill sprint here today. So be sure to check out embarcadero.com/rad offer to get the latest information. Let's see here. We had a quick question from Nicole. Are the replays of this serial skill sprints available? Yeah, they are available on our YouTube playlist. Let's see here. What's the easiest way for them to get there, do you think?
Just search Embarcadero YouTube, and then you'll see there's multiple different playlists that you can get to, or just go to the Skill Sprint landing page, Embarcadero Skill Sprint landing page. Search for Google that way. The landing page has most of the replay links. I just sent the two most recent FireDAC URLs to the web team, so they'll add those to the list. But the previous 3 previews on change views, beacons, and EMS push notifications, those replay links are already up on the landing page. But you can also just on the Embarcadero YouTube channel, there's playlists for FireDAC skill sprints and for developer skill sprints, as well as for Code Rage playlists. There's a whole bunch of different playlists. So yeah, all the replays are up there. They're the presentation and the live Q&A with all the questions, so you can see what people were asking about. So those are there. And this one, like I say, I just put up Jim's most recent 2 FireDAC skill sprint replays are up on YouTube now. This one will get up, and then there's one more FireDAC. It's my BDE migration to FireDAC on Thursday, and we'll be done with this quarter's skill sprints.
Okay, a follow-up question from Nicole. Is Box2D usable for finite element analysis?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
I'm not a finite element analysis person, so
yeah, I have no idea.
I sort of vaguely remember something from college days. It is a 2D physics engine that you can use to do the physics calculations for you. You still need to tie it to, if you want a user interface versus just getting the result data to do something with. So I don't know the answer.
One thing that I will interject with here is that Box2D has been around for a while, and if you Google it, there's lots of great learning resources, and all of it will be applicable to your usage with RAD Studio or whichever product you might use. So there's a lot of learning material already out there, and anything that you read about the capabilities of Box2D should be applicable for you. So.
And Brian's blog post has some of the links for Box2D.
Yeah.
And then the YouTube replay link will go up there. At the 6 a.m. time, I found some other educational resource links. But I'll, when Brian saves this question log, Nicole, I will go do some research to see if I can find any links as it relates to your specific question.
Yeah, anything that can completely stump us, I think, is a good question. Yeah. So. All right.
I'm stumped there, yeah.
Well, I will leave the questions open for another moment if there are any others. Otherwise, I appreciate everybody coming out today. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again real soon. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut down the webinar for today. Bye.